Hey guys, it's BK back here again with another video, and today I want to try something a little different than usual. And yeah, I mean it's a movie related video. It's not a update video like my movie collection update videos like I do. I want to do a ranking video actually. Basically what I'm gonna do is just gonna rank like movies from like different franchises, like for example like Star Wars or Marvel movies or whatever. Like I'll rank like all those from like worst to best. But in this video, I'm gonna do the Indiana Jones movies. I'm gonna rank all four of them from worst to best. And I even have one for Star Wars movies planned out as well. But I think I'm gonna wait until after I watch episode 9, like when it comes out later on this year. But other than that, let's start the ranking. Okay, so my least favorite in the franchise is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yes, that's everyone's least favorite, and even mine too. But I don't hate the movie or anything. I just think it's okay. It's an okay movie. At times it feels like an Indiana Jones movie, and at times it doesn't. And it does have a lot of like really stupid, silly moments at times. Like for example, like when he hides himself in the fridge, and then like he survives like that nuclear blast. Like I don't know if you can survive that. But this was the first Indiana Jones movie in 19 years. Yes, 19 years, a long time. It's one of the worst written Indiana Jones movies made. It suffers pretty much the same issues with the Star Wars prequels, like with the dialogue and the acting. But honestly, unpopular opinion, I kind of do like this movie a little bit more than Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Just that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think there's just a little more to it than episodes 1 and 2, like Star Wars episodes 1 and 2. But Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is still a bit of a disappointment. Everyone was excited for Harrison Ford to come back as Indiana Jones in this one, but people were kind of let down by it actually, because his performance was not the best. It was like he was just there for a paycheck, and he just seemed too monotone. It seemed like Karen Allen, like him and Karen Allen, they both just sound like old bags. Like they just seem like they don't really like want to be there really. I'm reading these off this little notebook I have here, and there were some new characters in there. They were okay. Shia LaBeouf, it was. I'm not really a big fan of Shia LaBeouf, but I thought he was okay in this movie. I haven't really seen him in many movies, but this one I didn't think he was too bad. I mean, I've seen him in the first 2 Transformers. I didn't really care for those ones at all, and I didn't bother watching like the Transformers movies that came out after Revenge of the Fallen. But yeah, Shia LaBeouf, he plays the son of Indiana Jones. So I don't know if a lot of people really saw it coming. Like there was a bit kind of like a little plot twist. Sometime in the movie, like halfway through the movie or something. And then there's John Hurt. He plays a professor, I believe. He was like a friend of Indiana Jones. Harold Oxley, that's his name. Yeah, he was a really weird character. He's just like really old dude. He's just like wandering around. He constantly like walks around, does and says like the weirdest things ever. 3 times it drops. And then there's Ray Winston, who is even more strange actually. It's like you see him in the beginning of the movie. He's working with Indy. Then like 10 minutes later, he reveals to be working with the Russians, who are the main villains in the movie. Yes, Russians. And then about halfway through the movie, he's working with Indy again. And then at the last like 10 minutes of the movie, he turns back. Like, whose side are you on? I mean, yeah, I get that they both wanted the Crystal Skull and that, but pick sides. I mean, there are some positives with this movie. The action scenes were amazing, like that one scene like where Indy's fighting the big Russian bad guy. Then like 5 minutes later, he gets eaten up by the ants. I thought that was a pretty cool scene. And then like with them in the jungle going after the skull, it's like it pays homage to Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade, like how Indy's going after the Nazis because like he's trying to gets something that the Nazis want as well. Well, like with Raiders, the Nazis want the Ark. Indy's trying to go after them because they have it. And then in the Last Crusade, Indy wants the Holy Grail, and the Nazis also want it as well. So Indy wants to be the first to get the Holy Grail. And John Williams' score, I do like in this as well. Actually, I like his score in all 4 of the Indy movies. And another negative I kind of have with this, it didn't really feel like Steven Spielberg directed this one. It feels like it was more George Lucas because like all the CGI, like the unnecessary CGI that was added in the movie, and then all of the shitty dialogue that was added in there. And of course, George Lucas is credited as a writer for this as well. Honestly, I feel like we didn't really need a 4th Indiana Jones movie. It was fine with 3 of them. Like, those were the best ones, really. And they're still talking about a 5th Indiana Jones movie, which I think will be fine. I didn't really ask for a 5th movie. But now that Disney owns Indiana Jones because like it's part of Lucasfilms, they might be able to like do it right or better, I guess is what I meant to say. And you still have Steven Spielberg coming back as well, and Harrison Ford coming back for it as well. And I don't know when it'll come out because they keep changing the release date for it, and it gets so annoying. Next one is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Yes, this one that I loved watching like over and over when I was a kid, and this was the first Indiana Jones movie I actually ever watched. For some reason when I was a kid, this one was my favorite. It was the one I watched the most. I think it was because it didn't really scare me that much. But the strange thing is, this was the darkest and creepiest and bloodiest and goriest one out of the 4 movies. And even when I was a kid, I was scared watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. But yeah, Temple of Doom, I love it. I don't give 2 shits what people say. I think it's a great prequel. Yes, prequel. It is a prequel. Not a lot of people know that. You people who say it's a sequel, no, you are wrong. It is a prequel. Even at the beginning of the movie, it says Shanghai, 1935. Raiders of the Lost Ark says South America, 1936. But yeah, this is one of the best movie prequels ever made. And yeah, it's different from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I know a lot of people didn't like it because it was too different. And that's what people complain about The Last Jedi. Too different. Yeah, and then like with Force Awakens, people complain that it was too similar to New Hope. Well, fuck. And same with Lost World Jurassic Park. People complained that one was too different. And honestly, I love Lost World Jurassic Park. I honestly don't think it's a bad sequel. Temple of Doom is great. I love the story to this one. I love how they took it to like a different direction. I mean, yeah, like it's a prequel and all. Like the idea of Indiana Jones trying to find the stone, the Sankara stone, I think is what do you call it, and then trying to bring it back to the Indian village, which I think was a really cool idea. I know one of people's biggest negatives with this movie, which I don't really have an issue with, is Willie Scott. You know, like Indy's love interest in this movie. People complain that she was too annoying and that she screamed constantly. But I mean, yeah, she did scream a lot in the movie. But honestly, I think Willie is a likable character. Actually, I mean, maybe not as good as Marion, of course. But I didn't mind Willie at all. She didn't really bother me that much, even when I was a kid watching it. She doesn't bother me as much as Jar Jar. And the action scenes, they're amazing in this. One of my favorites is with Indy fighting the big thuggy slave guy, like when they're on that conveyor belt or whatever that thing is, the rock crusher thing or whatever, and then like 2 minutes later the big bad guy gets crushed up and then there's like blood all over the thingy. But one of my favorite things in this movie was Molaram, the villain. Kalima, Kalima, Kalima. Molaram he was a great villain. He's strong. He's badass. He'll put his hand in your chest and he'll rip out your heart, and then he'll still be holding it while it's on fire. Hanam Shivai, Hanam Shivai, Hanam Shivai, Hanam Shivai. And then at the end he gets eaten up by crocodiles in a river. Another thing I liked about this movie was Short Round. He was a pretty cool kid in this movie, and you know he's that Asian kid in the Goonies. Whatever his name, I can't think of names at the top of my head right now. But yeah, Short Round, he's badass. He's pretty cool. I like him. But yeah, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, it's actually a really great movie. Like, if you haven't seen this one or any of the Indiana Jones movies, you gotta like check them out right now. Second on my list is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Yes, this is the only good sequel in this franchise, actually. Because, like I said, Temple of Doom is a prequel, and then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was just But Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I love this movie a lot. I love how it starts. It starts with a flashback scene with a young Indiana Jones, played by River Phoenix, rest in peace, and him and this like he's like with these like Boy Scouts, and then they find like this cross that like they steal from like a bunch of grave robbers, and they want to sell it to a museum, and then it cuts ahead like some number of years later with Indiana Jones on the boat, dealing with some of the same people, like trying to get the cross and like having it to put in the museum, and like he's trying to like fight for it. I really like how it starts. I think this one had a really great story to it. Like I love the idea of like him trying to find the Holy Grail, and like him teaming up with his father to like find it together. Yes, it's a father-son team-up movie. His dad, played by Sean Connery. I think this is one of Sean Connery's best movies, like along with some of the James Bond movies and The Rock. Losers whine about their best. Winners should go home and fuck the prom queen. Like the father-son team-up thing works so well in this. There's actually chemistry with Harrison Ford and Sean Connery in this movie, unlike Bruce Willis and Jai Courtney in Die Hard 5, which is probably one of the worst father-son team-up movies in an action movie like, ever. And the villains, there's like 3 villains in this, or 2, 3. I mean, like there's like Indy's love interest, who's like working with Indy at one point, and then like she's working for the Nazis, and then and like she kind of like goes back to Indy near the end. It's not that confusing really, but like Elsa was a really good character. I liked her in the movie. And then Colonel Vogel, I think that's how you say his name. He was a pretty cool villain as well. This is how we say goodbye in Germany, Dr. Jones. He just backhands him in the castle when they're all tied up, and then another villain. Yeah, there's quite a few villains in this. There's Donovan, another person who pretty much teams up with like the Nazis, and he's trying to go after the Grail as well. And his death is scary as fuck. Talk about like when they're trying to find like the actual Holy Grail, but then he picks up the wrong cup and drinks out of it, and then like he loses all of his skin, turns into a skeleton, and he turns into dust. Like that is horrifying as fuck. And the action scenes are great in this. Honestly, I think the action's maybe a tad bit better than Temple of Doom. Like you have a big tank going across the desert, and then Indy's fighting all the Nazis, and then at one point he shoots like 3 of them at once with a pistol. I thought that was pretty damn cool. And then Vogel dies going off a cliff inside his tank, which I thought was one of the best villain death scenes of all time. It's a bit dated, but I thought it was satisfying. But yeah, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, it was a great conclusion. It would have been the best way to just end the franchise right there and like just not have a 4th movie. And my number 1 is obviously Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yes, pretty much almost everyone's favorite, really. Like some people will say Raiders is the best one, and some people will say Last Crusade is the best one. Raiders. But yeah, this was a perfect way to start a franchise. It was just intended to be a standalone movie, kind of like what George Lucas was kind of going for with Star Wars. But then this movie got very successful, and then they wanted to make more movies. But yeah, the concept of this movie, like with him trying to find the Ark, and then like going against the Nazis and all that, I thought it was great. Like definitely very original too, and like. You can kind of tell that Spielberg was kind of like influenced by James Bond, and even at one point he actually did want to do a James Bond movie, but he never did for some reason. So and he went on to do Indiana Jones instead. Honestly, I do think Indiana Jones is better than James Bond. I think he's more badass than James Bond, and a lot cooler. And he's even got a fucking whip, for crying out loud. Like, you can whip your ass. Like Spielberg, he was the perfect choice for directing this movie, and like George Lucas even helped out with this as well. But like this was back when George Lucas actually knew how to like do movies properly. I mean he's apparently working with J.J. Abrams with Star Wars Episode 9, from what I heard. I'm sure it'll be great. It's still gonna be great. It'll probably be better than The Last Jedi, hopefully. But yeah, like I said, I love the story to this movie. Like starting off with him and Alfred Molina, yeah, like Doctor Octopus. So, like they find like the Golden Idol together, and then like Belloc, like the main villain, takes it from him, and then he's hired by the government to find the Ark, but he has to find Marion first and all that. Like the story structure is amazing, and like I said, John Williams' score is great. Like I said again, it was great in all four movies really, and the action scenes in this are phenomenal. And there's one action scene in the movie that kind of grossed me out as a kid, like that scene when they're fighting like by that plane and the propellers are spinning, and then that big mechanic guy gets chopped up and he turns into ketchup. And the truck chase scene like with Indy going after the Ark is fantastic. It holds up today. And do I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the best action movies ever made? Hell yes. I love the first three Indiana Jones movies. They're phenomenal. And then there's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which like I said, I don't hate it. I just think it's okay. Like it's nowhere near as good as the original three, obviously. The best part of the Indiana Jones franchise is John Williams' score and the action scenes, and then some of the acting as well too. I mean, maybe not with like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but like the original three movies, it's great. So that was my ranking for the Indiana Jones movies. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.